So how's everybody doing? It's Hank back with another Two Birds and a Third short discussion. I'm here to discuss something that I wanted to discuss last week, and that is Marshawn Lynch. He effectively retired at the end of the 2015 season, a very injury-riddled 2015 campaign, after years of playing very well. And it's not like Marshawn Lynch was a guy who came out of nowhere. He had 1,000-yard seasons before he even came to Seattle. But he really didn't become a household name until that Saints playoff game in the wild card, where he trucked the living daylights out of almost everybody. Like all 11 players on the Saints defense. And the Saints didn't have a bad defense that year. They're not known for having a bad defense. It's just something that happened, and it's kind of a parody or kind of like a meme now in the NFL or in pop culture. Get off me was basically the line that you can take from those plays he had in that playoff game. The whole Skittles thing, all of that came from that game, and he kind of became a legend in his very own right. Now, he retired with Seattle after the 2015 season, like I said. And I think for a while it was always rumored that he would go back to Oakland because he's a Northern California guy. He went to Cal. He's a hometown hero, all that stuff. But the issue is not that the Seattle Seahawks traded him. I think that's an amazing deal. I believe they got a fifth and a sixth in 2018 for that. That's not a bad deal at all for Seattle. So if teams that want to dump a player are attempting to just picking from straws, like 7th round picks. Sometimes there are players in this league that can't even be traded for 7th round picks because they're not worth it. And here's a retired player, a guy who has claimed that he has retired, who is being traded for a 6th and a 5th round draft pick in 2018. Now, if a team has capital, then that's something that they can use to their advantage. But from my very own perspective, I would never trade for a retired player like that. That's not something that I feel like is going to work out. Now, I am an Eagles fan, and Eagles fans show up to games, and they don't have ticket problems. They don't have stadium moving problems. I see this as being a publicity stunt by the Oakland Raiders. Them thinking to themselves, we're leaving in 2020 to Las Vegas. That's already been proved by the league. The league's already voted on that. And you have a guy who the fans like, the fans can put themselves around, the fans can cheer for, a guy like Marshawn Lynch, a guy who wants to play for them. But at the end of the day, I don't think that this is going to end up helping the Oakland Raiders on the football field. I don't know how bad or good Marshawn Lynch is going to play. I haven't seen any of his tape. I haven't seen any of his workouts. I'm guessing since he passed a workout that he's going to be good enough to be on the field. But I don't see him getting that much production. I see this very much as being kind of like an Emmitt Smith move. Emmitt Smith to the Arizona Cardinals. Everyone knows Emmitt Smith played in Dallas for somewhere around 12 years, ended up accumulating 3 Super Bowl rings, and I think he even accumulated a Super Bowl MVP, if I'm not mistaken. But he, in 2002, wins the rushing title, gets the most rushing yards in his career, sets the record, and then he goes straight to Arizona for, something like $12 million, and they are expecting him to be the number 1 running back when he could barely get 300 yards in a season. Now, Marshawn Lynch has been playing in the league for, I think, like 9 years. This would be his 10th season. He is somewhere close to 30. Everyone knows once you get up to be 30 years old, 30-somewhat years old, you're not going to be as effective as you used to be. So I'm really questioning the motivation around, this being a good move for the team rather than this being a great move for the fan base and the organization. Because if you look at this draft, there's a lot of players that you could pick in this draft. And yes, the Raiders did need defensive help, but if you wanted to get a running back in the 4th, 5th rounds, that was something that you could do. You could get a guy that is going to more than make up for what Marshawn Lynch can do and bring him onto the field and have him help you out. Because the running backs in this draft, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th round running backs could have easily been a 2nd round running back in any other draft. It was a very deep running back draft. So I really question that. Not saying that this is not going to work out, not saying that this is the worst move that's ever been made. I just question the move from the standpoint of a fan that's seen this happen in other organizations and it hasn't worked. But if this helps the Raiders sell tickets, if they're just doing it purely on a business level, well then it could work for them. If they've got draft pick capital, if they've got the monetary capital. Again, I don't know. I'm not the Raiders. I'm not in their heads. I know a lot of Raiders fans are for this move, but at the end of the day, I don't see it helping the Raiders on the field, despite the fact that really running back isn't a real issue because they've got good receivers and they've got Derek Carr and they've got a good O-line. So for the most part, anyone could play well for the Oakland Raiders at running back. So that's all I have for this video. I don't know what's going to happen to Marshawn Lynch within the next season to 2 seasons. But regardless, this is Hank. This is Two Birds and a Third Short Discussion. I will see you guys, and I'll make more content as the week goes on.